I went on a dream beach trip with my girlfriend and best friend, totally clueless they were making love behind my back. The moment I caught on, I decided I'd make them pay by exposing their lies in front of all our friends. No mercy. Jake, we can explain, they pleaded, but by then, it was already too late. Hey Reddit, I'm Jake. I used to think life was simple, great girlfriend, awesome best friend, no real drama. But then, out of nowhere, weird stuff started happening. My girlfriend, Emma, began acting jumpy every time her phone buzzed. She'd laugh at random texts and then hide the screen. Whenever I asked what was up, she'd brush me off, saying it's nothing. I tried not to overthink it. I mean, Emma and I had been together for a while. If something was bothering her, she'd tell me, right? But one night, her phone lit up while she was in the shower. I wasn't snooping, but I glanced at the caller ID, my best friend Alex, with a heart emoji next to his name. My stomach dropped. Alex and I have been tight since we were kids. He's the last person I'd suspect of sneaking around with my girlfriend. Still, that heart emoji felt like a punch in the gut. When Emma came back, she seemed unsettled. I'd seen the screen, so I asked, "Everything good?" She just nodded and mumbled something about Alex asking her a dumb favor. From that moment, it was impossible not to notice all the tiny signs. Emma texting at odd hours, constantly sneaking off to take calls, and Alex dropping random excuses whenever we tried to hang out. Something smelled fishy, but I didn't want to confront them without proof. Next week, we're all heading to a beach house for our annual group vacation. The tension's already building. My plan: keep cool, act clueless, and see if I can catch them in the act. If I find out my instincts are right, let's just say I've got a few ideas on how to handle this. Stay tuned, Reddit. Something tells me this vacation's gonna be more dramatic than we ever expected. Packing for the annual beach house trip always used to be exciting. Friends coming together, late-night card games, and a whole lot of inside jokes. This time, the anticipation weighed differently. The tension was thick every time Emma got a text. She'd check her phone, quickly glance at me, then type back furiously, acting like it was no big deal. The countdown to leaving for the beach house felt more like a countdown to some final confrontation. A few days before we set out, I went to grab breakfast at our usual spot. Emma said she'd meet me there, but showed up late and looked a bit flustered. She claimed the bus was delayed. We both knew she drives her own car, so that left me scratching my head. Sipping my coffee, I tried to probe gently. "Hey, you been talking to Alex lately? He seems kinda distant." She froze for a split second, like she was caught off guard, then smoothed it over with a laugh. "He's probably just busy with work," she said. "You know how he is." The forced cheer in her voice did nothing to hide the lie. The rest of that day, I watched Emma field text after text. At one point, she snapped the phone shut and practically sprinted to the bathroom to make a call in private. She probably thought I couldn't hear, but the walls in our apartment are thin, and bits of conversation leaked through. Hushed apologies, mention of the beach house, and something about needing to be careful. That prickle of betrayal at the back of my neck sparked into full-blown alarm bells. I stayed calm, but my brain was running a mile a minute. If Emma and Alex were carrying on behind my back, why agree to a group vacation where everyone's in close quarters? The answer seemed obvious. Maybe they needed an excuse to be around each other, but still keep me in the dark. If that was the case, they were in for a rude awakening. I decided my best move was to play the clueless boyfriend, let them think they had the upper hand. Meanwhile, I'd watch, wait, and collect enough evidence to confirm everything. When Emma wasn't around, I texted Alex, pretending all was normal. He responded in a strangely stilted way, like he was worried I might suspect something. Normally, he'd joke around with me, but now it was all one-word answers and "sorry, I'm busy." I could practically feel his guilt through the phone screen. By the time we started loading the car for the road trip, the mood was so forced you could cut it with a knife. Emma tried to act sweet, checking if I had enough snacks for the drive. Alex, who usually rode with me, suddenly insisted on driving separately, muttering some excuse about errands along the way. My heart pounded faster each time he and Emma exchanged those loaded glances they thought I wouldn't catch. A few hours later, we hit the highway. Emma and I were alone in my car, music playing softly in the background. She nodded along, but I could tell her mind was somewhere else. Probably texting Alex at the rest stops we'd inevitably make. I'd never hated the feeling of sitting next to someone so familiar who'd suddenly become a stranger. Still, as we merged onto the expressway, I found an odd calm settle over me. For better or worse, I was going to get the answers I needed during this trip. Instead of dread, I felt a surge of determination. I had a plan to see this through. If Emma and Alex were betraying me, they wouldn't expect how I'd respond once I gathered undeniable proof. And that knowledge gave me the slightest bit of satisfaction. All I had to do was wait for the perfect moment at the beach house. Then I'd set my plan in motion. The drive felt longer than usual. Maybe it was the awkward silence in the car, or the fact that Emma spent half the trip staring out the window while holding her phone like a lifeline. Every time I glanced at her, she'd shift her posture and make some lame comment about how excited she was to finally relax. The tension was so thick, you could practically grab it out of the air. When we finally pulled up to the beach house, the sun was just starting to set, painting the sky in these crazy pink and orange streaks. Normally, I'd be hyped, but all I could think about was how Alex, my supposed best friend, had arrived hours before us. The whole way there, Emma kept texting someone, and I had a pretty good guess who it was. We unloaded our bags, and I noticed there were 2 cars already in the driveway, Alex's and another friend's. Emma tried to hurry inside, probably eager to meet Alex. I hung back, pretending to check something in the trunk. From where I stood, I could see them through the living room window. Alex looked up, spotted Emma, and for a second, I swear they both looked guilty as hell. Then he plastered on this forced grin. By the time I stepped through the front door, they were chatting away like nothing was wrong. The rest of the group was busy exploring the place, calling dibs on rooms, and cracking open some drinks. I did my best to greet everyone like my normal self. I wasn't about to let them see how rattled I felt. Still, my eyes kept drifting back to Emma and Alex. They stuck close to each other, whispering about who knows what whenever they thought no one was looking. Dinner that night was tense. Our friend Kaylee tried to lighten the mood with some jokes, but the vibe was off. Emma seemed anxious, constantly glancing at Alex, who was doing his best to act casual. At one point, she offered to help me cut veggies in the kitchen, and I saw her phone light up with his name. Her breath caught, and she quickly shoved the device in her pocket. If that's not suspicious, I don't know what is. Later, while everyone relaxed in the living room, playing board games and flipping channels, I snuck upstairs. The house had this spacious balcony that overlooked the ocean, the kind of spot where you could see the entire beach lit by moonlight. I sat there for a minute, letting the crash of the waves calm me down. My gut was screaming that something was about to go down, something that might just blow up everyone's night. That's when I heard footsteps on the landing below. I peeked over the railing and caught a glimpse of Emma and Alex, quietly slipping out the side door like they had somewhere secret to be. I felt the anger rising, but I forced myself to stay still. Confronting them then, and there would give them the chance to lie their way out of it. Instead, I wanted undeniable proof. I stayed up there for a while, trying to steady my breathing. The ocean breeze helped clear my head. I had a plan, after all. Let them think they're safe for now. Let them believe I'm clueless. Because by the end of this trip, I intended to make sure their betrayal saw the light in the most spectacular way possible. Down below, I could hear everyone laughing over some silly card game. Someone yelled my name, probably wondering where I went. I took one last look at the moonlit beach and headed back inside, determined to gather every piece of evidence I needed. If Emma and Alex thought they were going to get away with this, they were dead wrong. That night, everyone settled into their rooms, or so I thought. I couldn't shake the feeling that Emma and Alex weren't quite done with their sneaking around. I was too keyed up to sleep, so I decided to do a quick sweep of the place. Maybe I was being paranoid, but I wanted to see if they'd left any clues or if they were still up, talking behind closed doors. I crept downstairs, tiptoeing through the hallway to avoid making noise. Dimly lit by a single lamp, the living room was empty. The quiet hum of the fridge was the only sound. A glance at the back door showed it was cracked open just an inch, something that wouldn't happen by accident in a house full of people. My heart pounded as I stood there, imagining what I might find if I peeked outside. Against my better judgment, I pushed the door open. The night air was cool and carried the scent of the ocean. I could hear muffled voices from the side yard. I crept around the corner of the house as silently as I could and spotted 2 silhouettes under a small garden light. Sure enough, it was Emma and Alex, huddled close. She had her arms crossed, and he looked like he was pleading with her about something. I froze, tucked myself behind a thick column of the porch, and tried to listen. Emma was whispering, He's not stupid, Alex. If we keep acting weird, he'll figure everything out. She sounded agitated. Alex replied in a low voice. We just have to be careful, okay? Avoid being alone together. A bitter laugh almost escaped my mouth. Here they were, telling each other to avoid being alone together while literally being alone together, in the middle of the night, behind the house. I felt a flash of anger ripple through me, but I clamped it down. Charging out there would only blow my cover. Better to keep calm and see how much more they revealed. They talked in hushed tones for a minute more, something about me acting normal, which, ironically, was exactly what I wanted them to think. At one point, Emma ran a hand through her hair, looking frustrated. Then Alex quickly planted a kiss on her cheek. She jumped back, glancing around nervously. My blood boiled, but I held my ground. Their conversation ended abruptly when Emma insisted they head back in. I ducked farther behind the porch column as they passed by. Part of me was furious enough to confront them right then, but another part recognized this was exactly the proof I needed. No more second-guessing. No more, maybe I'm imagining things. They'd shown me with my own eyes just how real their betrayal was. When the coast was clear, I slipped back inside, my mind racing. I replayed that little scene over and over, each time feeling a fresh wave of hurt and anger. Emma and Alex were gaslighting me, plain and simple. But I wasn't about to let them control the narrative. I needed to gather more evidence, make sure there was no possible way for them to twist the truth. I made it upstairs without anyone noticing. Lying in bed, I tried to slow my breathing, reminding myself of the plan. Let them think I'm clueless until I can set things up so they can't deny what they've done. Tomorrow, with a whole day of beach activities and hangouts, might just give me the perfect opportunity to ramp up my revenge. Maybe I was being petty, but after seeing them together, I didn't even feel bad about what I was planning. All bets were off now. If Emma and Alex thought they could keep me in the dark, they were in for a rude awakening. The truth was coming, and I was more than ready to deliver it. The morning after that tense night, everyone woke up bright and early to hit the beach. Kaylee and some of our other friends were already packing towels, snacks, and sunscreen, chattering excitedly about the day ahead. Emma tried to act casual, joining the conversation and laughing in all the right places. I kept an eye on her, waiting to catch another telling slip up. At the breakfast table, Alex seemed extra jumpy. Every time I spoke, he looked at me like he expected some big accusation to fly out of my mouth. But I stayed chill, cracking a few jokes and talking about how great it felt to finally be on vacation. I think that threw him off. He probably expected me to grill him about what he was doing sneaking outside last night. Instead, I played my role as the unsuspecting friend. Mid-morning, we piled into a couple of cars for a short drive to a nearby stretch of beach. The sky was clear, waves rolling in gently, and the sand was soft and warm. It was the perfect scene for a summer getaway, or it would have been, if I hadn't been consumed by thoughts of Emma and Alex. While the rest of the group set up a blanket and portable speakers, I quietly pulled Kaylee aside. I trusted her more than anyone else here, and I knew she was sharp. I hinted that something fishy was going on between Emma and Alex. She gave me a wide-eyed look and asked if I was sure. When I told her about them sneaking out late at night, she didn't doubt me for a second. Instead, she offered to help in any way she could. Kaylee had this small camera she used for vlogging. We came up with a plan. If Emma and Alex tried to go off alone, Kaylee would follow at a distance, capturing any private moments that might reveal the truth. That way, if they tried to deny it later, we'd have hard evidence, footage they couldn't explain away. I got back to the group, pretending I was just scoping out good waves for surfing. Emma asked where I'd disappeared to, but I just shrugged. She didn't push too hard, and we all ended up in the water, splashing around like nothing was wrong. Part of me almost felt guilty. The beach atmosphere was fun and carefree, but under the surface, everything was about to crack wide open. Late in the afternoon, Alex said he was going to check out a cool trail he'd read about. Emma immediately volunteered to tag along, claiming she needed to stretch her legs. No one else showed interest, except Kaylee, who quickly jumped up with an excited smile and said she'd love a short hike. The look on Emma's face when Kaylee insisted on joining was priceless. She tried to cover it with a polite grin, but I could tell she was thrown off. I waited on the beach with the others, scanning the horizon as they disappeared into the trees. Every passing minute made my heart pound harder, hoping our plan would work. About half an hour later, Kaylee came strolling back alone, camera in hand. The sly grin she gave me spoke louder than any words. She whispered, "Let's just say it's all on video." I felt a rush of mixed emotions, anger, relief, even a weird sense of pride that I'd finally cornered them. Still, I kept my cool around the rest of the group. No need to blow everything up right then. After all, I had something bigger planned for our last night at the beach house. If Emma and Alex thought they could keep hiding, they were about to learn otherwise in the most brutal way possible. We packed up and headed back just before sunset, everyone chattering about dinner plans. Emma was uncharacteristically quiet, while Alex wore this tense expression like he was waiting for a bomb to drop. I acted oblivious, cracking jokes about how I was starving and couldn't wait to stuff my face with pizza. Beneath my casual surface, my mind was racing with one thought. This time, I have them cornered. They walked right into the setup, and the final act was about to begin. That evening at the beach house, everyone seemed a bit tired from the day's adventures. Emma quietly made herself a cup of tea, while Alex flipped through TV channels with restless energy. Our friends settled around the living room in small clusters, chatting about random stuff. I slipped Kaylee a nod, and she gave me a knowing smile. This was it. I announced that I had a highlight reel of our trips so far that I wanted everyone to see. In truth, most of the footage on the TV was just normal, fun beach clips we'd gathered. People splashing in the surf, silly poses in front of the water, that sort of thing. I let it play for a few minutes, cracking a few jokes to keep the mood casual. Emma even managed a polite laugh, probably relieved to see the familiar videos. Then I signaled Kaylee. She connected her camera and switched to the footage she'd shot during that little hike Emma and Alex took. A hush fell over the room. The video was shaky, but it clearly showed Emma and Alex sneaking off the path, arms around each other, sharing more than just friendly hugs. The audio wasn't perfect, but you could catch phrases like, "We can't keep doing this," and "Jake can't find out." I heard a collective intake of breath from our friends. Emma's face went ghostly white, and Alex froze, staring at the screen like a deer in headlights. For a second, no one spoke, but tension filled the air like static. When the clip ended, I turned to them, no longer hiding my anger. Emma stammered, "It's not what it looks like," while Alex tried to blurt out some half-baked excuse. But the evidence was right there, too real and raw for them to deny. Our friends shifted uncomfortably, some looking furious, some just shocked at how blatant the betrayal was. Kaylee crossed her arms, shooting Emma and Alex a look that asked, "Really? You're gonna lie now?" Alex tried stepping toward me, but I stopped him with a glare. He mumbled, "Jake, I'm sorry, it just happened." Emma stood there, tears in her eyes, repeating, "It was a mistake," like that would magically erase what they'd done. Their words melted into the background as I turned off the TV. I'd imagined this moment for days, but now that it was happening, I felt more numb than triumphant. Finally, I broke the silence and told them exactly how messed up it was that they'd sneak around behind my back, especially when we were all supposed to be friends. Emma tried to reach for my hand, but I pulled away, a swirl of anger and hurt roaring in my chest. If they thought an apology would patch things up, they were dead wrong. No one else in the room defended them. A few friends started gathering their stuff, clearly not in the mood to keep up the vacation charade. Alex slumped onto the couch, burying his head in his hands, while Emma pleaded for a private conversation. I told her there was nothing left to say. That night, I packed my things, quietly thanking Kaylee for having my back. Most of the others seemed unsure whether to stay or go, but I was done with the place. I walked out, leaving Emma and Alex behind in the living room, surrounded by the wreckage of their lies. Outside, I threw my bag into the car, my heart still pounding. It wasn't the fairy tale ending I once imagined with Emma, but it was closure. In the rearview mirror, I watched the beach house shrink away under the moonlight. Part of me wanted to scream or cry, but another part felt an odd sense of relief. The painful truth was out there. No more guessing, no more being played for a fool. I drove off, ready to rebuild my life without the people who broke my trust. The trip that was supposed to be about fun and bonding ended in betrayal and heartbreak. But if there's one good thing to come out of this mess, it's that I can finally move on, knowing the truth about my so-called best friend and the girl I thought I loved. That's all for now. It's not the ending I wanted, but at least it's real. Sometimes, the only way to find peace is to let everything burn and walk away from the ashes.